There's a special kind of ache that comes with loving someone from afar. A ache that doesn't show on your body, but lives somewhere deep in your chest, pressing against your heart until it becomes hard to breathe. My name is Margaret. I'm 63 years old, and for the past 3 years, I've been carrying a pain that I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy. Every morning I wake up, and the first thing I do isn't pray. It isn't thank God for another day. The first thing I do is check my phone. I check for a message from my son, a text, a call, anything. 3 years, 112 weeks, 784 days, and still nothing. My son David used to call me every Sunday, every single Sunday. We'd talk for hours. He'd tell me about his job, his dreams, his girlfriend Sarah, the woman he said he was going to marry someday. Someday, Mom, when I'm ready, when I can give her the life she deserves. And I would tell him, David, you don't need to give her the world. You just need to give her your heart. That's all I ever gave your father, and we built a life together. You're such a romantic, Mom. And I would reply, your grandmother used to say the same thing about me. I guess some things are passed down through generations. But somewhere along the way, the Sunday calls stopped. First, they became every other Sunday, then once a month, then sporadic, unpredictable, like I was checking the weather and hoping for sunshine but getting storms instead. I tried not to worry. I told myself he was busy. He was building his career. He was figuring out life. That's what our children are supposed to do, right? They grow up, they spread their wings, they fly. But somewhere in the back of my mind, I knew something had changed. Something had shifted between us, and I couldn't figure out what it was. The last time I saw David, we had an argument. It was about Sarah, about why they weren't married yet, about why he kept putting it off. I'm not ready. Mom, why can't you just let me live my life? Why do you have to keep pushing? I don't want to push you, David. I just want to be part of your life. I want to know what's happening. You want to control it. You want everything to happen on your timeline. Well, this is my life, Mom. My timeline. That was the last conversation we had. That was the last time I saw his face. That was the last time I heard his voice. And that's when the waiting began. The worst kind of waiting. Waiting for someone who might never come home. I found solace in my church, in my faith, in the community of believers who surrounded me with love when my own son had pushed me away. Pastor John noticed my sadness. He noticed the hollow look in my eyes. And one day after service, he sat beside me on the wooden pew and asked me what was wrong. I told him everything. About David, about the distance, about the silence, about the ache that never went away. Margaret, he said gently, God has a plan for your life, a plan for David's life. Maybe this is a season of waiting, but I promise you, God's timing is perfect. He sees what we cannot see. He knows what we do not know. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to have faith that my son would come back to me. But faith is hard when your chest hurts from crying. Faith is hard when you wake up every morning to silence. Nevertheless, I prayed. Every night I got on my knees and I prayed. Lord, please watch over my son. Please keep him safe. Please bring him back to me. Whatever I did wrong, please help me fix it. I'm willing to change. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. But the silence persisted. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and David remained a ghost, a presence I could feel but couldn't touch. It was a Thursday in October when everything changed. I had spent the entire morning cooking David's favorite meal, fried chicken, mashed potatoes, cornbread, the works. I don't know what possessed me to do it. Maybe it was the changing seasons. Maybe it was the way the autumn leaves were falling, reminding me that nothing stays the same forever. Maybe I was just tired of waiting. I picked up my phone, I dialed David's number, and when he answered, I could barely recognize his voice. Mom? Just that one word, just my name, and suddenly I was crying. David, my baby, I've missed you so much. I know, Mom, I know, I'm sorry. I've been going through some things. Some things. What things? You can tell me anything, sweetheart. You know that, right? There was a long pause, a silence that felt like it lasted forever. Mom, there's something I need to tell you. My heart started racing. My palms grew sweaty. I gripped the phone so hard my knuckles turned white. What is it, David? You can tell me? Another pause, another eternity of silence. Mom, Sarah and we got married. The phone slipped from my hand. It clattered against the kitchen counter, but I didn't pick it up. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. Mom, are you there? You, you got married. When? Another pause. And then the words that broke me. Yesterday, Mom, we got married yesterday. I don't remember how long I sat there. Time stopped existing. The world stopped spinning. Everything I had been waiting for, hoping for, praying for, everything came crashing down in a single moment. Yesterday, my son got married, and I wasn't there. I imagined the ceremony. I imagined Sarah in her beautiful dress. I imagined my son standing at the altar waiting for his bride. And I imagined the empty chairs where our family should have been sitting. The empty chairs where I should have been sitting, not invited, not informed, not even thought of. How could he do this to me? How could he get married without his mother, without his family, without the woman who raised him, loved him, sacrificed everything for him? I thought about all of the moments we shared, the late nights helping him with homework, the early mornings driving him to school, the tears when he graduated college, the celebrations when he got his first job, all of it, all those years of love, all those years of devotion. And this was my reward. God, I whispered, why? Why is this happening? What did I do wrong? What did I do to deserve this? But there was no answer, only silence. I didn't answer David's calls for 3 days. I didn't go to church. I didn't eat. I just sat in my living room, staring at the wall, wondering where I had gone wrong. Pastor John came by my house. He sat with me for hours, listening to me cry, listening to me vent, listening to my anger and my pain. He didn't invite me, John. He didn't even tell me. I had to call him to find out. After 3 years of silence, I had to call him to hear about my own son's wedding. Margaret, I know this hurts. I know it feels like the end of the world, but God has a plan. Maybe this is a test of your faith. Maybe what? I interrupted, my voice sharp with anger. Maybe I'm supposed to be happy that my son forgot about me. Maybe I'm supposed to be grateful that I wasn't important enough to invite to his wedding. Pastor John was quiet for a moment. Then he said something I didn't expect. Margaret, you have every right to be angry. You have every right to be hurt. God doesn't expect you to pretend everything is fine. He doesn't expect you to swallow your pain. He doesn't? No, God sees your tears. He hears your cries. But he also asks something very difficult of us. He asks us to forgive. Not because people deserve it, not because it's easy, but because he forgave us first. Because mercy is a gift we give ourselves as much as we give others. Forgiveness, the word echoed in my mind, like a bell tolling in an empty church. How could I forgive? How could I forget the pain? How could I move on when every thought of David brought fresh tears to my eyes? Was he right? Had I been too controlling? Had I pushed him away with my expectations? With my need to be involved in every aspect of his life? Lord, I prayed, I don't understand. I don't know what to do. My heart is broken. My son is married to a woman I've never met, in a ceremony I wasn't invited to, in a life I'm no longer part of. How do I forgive? How do I let go? As I prayed, something strange happened. The room grew warm, not physically warm, but warm in a way that touched my soul. The heaviness in my chest began to lift, just slightly, just enough to take a breath. And then I saw him. He stood in the doorway of my living room. His form was glowing with a soft, golden light that seemed to come from within him rather than around him. His face was gentle, his eyes filled with infinite compassion. I knew who he was immediately, not because of any physical feature, but because of the feeling that washed over me, a feeling of peace, a feeling of love so profound that it made every pain I had ever felt seem small. Margaret. His voice was like music, like a lullaby, like every good memory I had ever experienced combined into one sound. I should have been afraid. I should have questioned what I was seeing, but instead I felt safe. I felt seen. I felt loved. Jesus. He walked toward me and sat down on the couch beside me. He didn't touch me, but I could feel his presence surrounding me, holding me, supporting me. Why? Why did this happen? What did I do wrong? You did nothing wrong, Margaret. You loved your son with all your heart. You gave him everything you had. That is not a sin. That is a mother's love. Then why? Why did he push me away? Why wasn't I at his wedding? Why wasn't I important enough to invite? Jesus was quiet for a moment. He looked at me with eyes that held the wisdom of eternity, and he spoke words I will never forget. Margaret, let me tell you a story. A story about a father and his two sons. Many years ago, a man had two sons. The younger son came to his father one day and said, "Father, give me my share of the inheritance." The father, though heartbroken, gave his son what he asked for. The younger son took his inheritance and traveled to a distant country. There, he wasted everything on reckless living. He squandered his fortune on parties and friends who didn't truly care about him. Eventually, he found himself so poor that he was working with pigs, eating food that was thrown away. He was so hungry that he would have eaten the pods the pigs ate. And in that moment of desperation, he remembered his father. He remembered the warmth of home. He remembered the love he had left behind. And so he made a decision. He decided to go home. He knew he didn't deserve to be called a son anymore. He knew he had failed. But he went anyway because he had nowhere else to go. When the father saw his son coming, he didn't wait for an apology. He didn't demand an explanation. He ran to his son, embraced him, and welcomed him home. The son tried to speak, to confess his failures, but the father wouldn't hear it. He called for the best robe, for a ring, for a celebration. This, my son, was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. Jesus looked at me with eyes that held the entire universe. Margaret, you are that father. David is that son, and right now, in this very moment, your son is making his way home. But he's already married. He's already started his life. How can he come home? Home isn't a place, Margaret. It's a state of heart. Your son pushed you away because he was afraid. He was afraid of disappointing you. He was afraid of not being enough. He built walls around his heart because he thought it would protect him from the pain of your rejection. But I never rejected him. I loved him. I know. But perception is powerful. David saw your involvement as control. He heard your love as pressure. He perceived your words as expectations, and so he ran. He ran as far as he could, thinking that distance would make the pain go away. But distance doesn't heal wounds, Margaret, for it only makes them deeper. And in the silence, in the loneliness, your son has realized the truth. He realizes now that the one thing he was running from, the one person who truly loved him unconditionally, was the very person he needed most. What do I do? How do I reach him? How do I tell him that I forgive him? That I never stopped loving him? That I would welcome him home with open arms? Jesus walked toward me. He stood directly in front of me, and he placed his hands on my shoulders. You already have. Your forgiveness began the moment you started praying for him. Your love has been reaching out to him every single day, even when you didn't know it. The walls David built are cracking, Margaret, and soon they will come tumbling down. But I need to see him. I need to hold him. I need to tell him face to face that I forgive him. You will, Margaret, but not because of anything you do, because of what I will do. The call is coming, your phone will ring, and when it does, you will answer with love, not anger, not resentment, just love. Remember the words I taught my disciples. Love your neighbor as yourself. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for a friend. You have laid down your pride, Margaret. You have laid down your hurt. Now lay down your fear. And then he was gone. I stood in my living room for a long time after Jesus left. The room felt different, warmer, more alive. I didn't know when David would call. I didn't know if it would be tomorrow or next month or next year. But for the first time in 3 years, I wasn't afraid. I put away the fried chicken. I stored the mashed potatoes. I wrapped the cornbread and placed it in the refrigerator. And then I did something I hadn't done in years. I set the table for two. Not because I expected David to come, not because I was demanding anything, but because I was ready. I was ready to welcome him home. 2 days passed. I spent them in prayer, in reflection, in preparation. On the second night, the phone rang. I looked at the screen. David's name, just like I knew it would be. I answered, "Hi, sweetheart." "Mom, I don't know what to say. I've been such an idiot, such a terrible son. You must hate me. You must." "David, I could never hate you. I've never hated you. Not for one moment, not for 1 second. But I got married without telling you. I didn't invite you. I didn't even think about how much it would hurt you. I was so focused on my own fears, my own problems that I know, sweetheart. And it's okay. It's okay. How can it be okay? I destroyed everything. I lost you. You didn't lose me, David. You never lost me. I was always here. I was always waiting. I was always praying. Mom, can I come home? Sarah and I, we want to come home. I want you to meet her. I want her to know the woman who raised me. I want her to understand where I come from. I want my family back." They came the following Sunday. I watched from the window as David stepped out of the car. He looked older, tired, but also different, more humble, more grounded. Beside him stood Sarah. She was beautiful, just as David had described. But more than that, she had a gentle spirit, a kind heart. I could see it in the way she looked at my son, the way she held his hand. David stopped at the front porch. He looked at the door. He looked at me standing there. And he broke. "Mom!" I opened my arms and he ran into them. We held each other for what felt like forever. He was crying. I was crying. And somewhere in the chaos of tears and hugs and whispered apologies, I felt the presence of something divine. Sarah joined us. The three of us stood there, arms intertwined, tears flowing freely. "Welcome home, welcome home." We sat at the table that night, David, Sarah, and me. We ate the meal I had prepared, and we talked for hours. Sarah showed me pictures of the wedding. It was simple, intimate, beautiful. Just the two of them, a pastor, and a few close friends. "Mom, I wanted to call you every single day. I wanted to call you, but I was so ashamed. I felt like I had failed you, like I had become everything you warned me not to be." "You didn't fail anyone, David. You grew up, you found love, you built a life. That's not a failure, David. That's life." "Mom, David has told me so much about you, about your faith, about your strength, about the way you raised him. I feel like I already know you. And I feel like I've known you forever, because you're part of my son now, and that makes you part of me." 3 months later, David and Sarah stood before our church family. They were being married again, this time with their family present. I sat in the front row, watching my son pledge his love to his wife. And I thought about the journey we had taken, the pain, the separation, the waiting, the healing. And in that moment, I saw him again, just for a second, just a flicker of golden light in the corner of my eye. He was there. He had always been there. When the ceremony was over, David came to me. He hugged me tight and whispered in my ear, "Thank you, Mom. Thank you for never giving up on me. Thank you for teaching me what love really means." I held him close and replied, "I didn't teach you anything, sweetheart. I just loved you, and love, real love, always finds its way home." It's been 2 years since that day. David and Sarah live just 20 minutes away. They visit every Sunday. And last month, they gave me the greatest gift of all, a grandchild. I hold my granddaughter in my arms, and I think about the journey. I think about the pain. I think about the waiting. And I realize something now that I didn't realize then. God didn't cause my pain. The enemy caused my pain. But God used that pain to draw me closer to Him, to teach me about forgiveness, to prepare me for this moment. If you are waiting tonight, if you are hoping, if you are hurting, if you feel like the silence will never end, I want you to know something. God sees you. He sees your tears. He hears your prayers. He knows your pain, and He is working, even when you can't see it. He is moving, even when you can't feel it. He is preparing something beautiful. even when everything feels broken. The wait is hard, the pain is real, but the reward is worth it because love always finds its way home. Subscribe for more stories of hope, forgiveness, and divine love because every story matters, every heart matters, and with God, every ending is just a new beginning.